Hey, welcome back to another episode of Compliance Clips with your two co-hosting comedians, Rick Morgan and John Farquhar. And today we have the one, the only, the none other, the wonderful, hailing from Tennessee, Jeremy Disbrow of CVSA. Yeah!
Welcome, Jeremy.
How's it going, Jeremy?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having me on today.
Oh, glad to have you. So do us a favor and give our listeners a little background on who you are, other than seeing the sign behind you. Like, what kind of credentials have you gotten? How do you know what you know?
Just that. No, my name's Jeremy.
That's the way to have it.
My name is Jeremy Disbrow. I work for CVSA. I'm the liaison at CVSA for the Driver Traffic Enforcement Committee, the Passenger Carrier Committee, and what we're here to talk about today, International Roadcheck as well. So those are kind of my things. But my background, I retired actually from the Arizona Highway Patrol. I was with them for 20 years. I retired out of the Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Unit, and I was the training coordinator there as well. So that's kind of where I came from before I came here and got the dream job. So I'm in a good spot.
Cool.
You sound like you share a bit of background with our friend Carrie there.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So I work with Carrie, and she's one of the ones that convinced me to come over here. So we do all right.
Yeah. So it sounds great. You've got lots of hands-on experience here. So you've had interaction with drivers, operators on the roadway, roadside inspections and whatnot. So you know what a driver is going to be involved in when it comes to road check every year.
Yep, absolutely. It's a great opportunity. If drivers have never been inspected during road check, it's an opportunity to get to interact, I guess, with inspectors that maybe you don't normally get to do. So inspectors have a different mindset during that interaction, where they're really in an educational kind of mode in their brain. They're there to give information, to ensure compliance, obviously, and do their job, but they're also there to interact and answer questions that maybe you've been sitting on for a couple of years and you want answers to, and things like that. So it's a really good opportunity to get involved and interact with law enforcement.
So a good opportunity for drivers to ask a lot of those questions they've never asked before or have been afraid to ask, right? Because I know when I dealt with drivers, I was always like, engage with the officer. He's not there to give you a ticket. He's there to help you better understand.
But I think that's a really good point, and because from the driver community and from managing drivers, road check is a thing to fear, right? It's like, oh no, it's the Blitz. But and I've taken the observer packages. I brought many people to the scales while these are going on, or the inspection stations, and it is a really different environment. You guys are trying to educate and provide information. So what are we educating and informing on specifically in this year's roadside inspection?
So just like every year, Roadcheck focuses on level 1 inspections, which is the most thorough level of inspection, right? That's where they're looking at the driver, the vehicle, they're crawling underneath, checking the brakes, basically head to toe, right? So that's what they're working on. This year's driver focus is going to be primarily on ELD falsifications, hours of service in general, but we're really targeting falsifying logbooks. And ELDs, when they came out, the whole point was that they were impossible to falsify and all that kind of stuff, right? But that's not necessarily the case. And we're finding, with technology changing, we're finding different ways that drivers are able to manipulate their logs, and not even just drivers, but the ELD vendors sometimes are actually a part of this. It's some of the less reputable companies and stuff. So it's really something we're trying to raise awareness on. And then on the vehicle side, we're really focusing on tires this year. And kind of the reason they took that approach had to do with the automatic tire inflation systems. The prevalence of those, sometimes that makes it difficult for an inspector to know what to do. They don't always even know how to check the tire pressure when it's got tubes and stuff coming out of it. So we're trying to educate them on how to check everything. We're trying to educate industry as well on, what the rules are, especially when you have an ATIS or automatic tire inflation system attached to the vehicle. So And real quick, that is not a required component by any means.
Right.
But it is something that we're looking at and trying to raise awareness on.
Sure, sure.
So
Yeah.
as a piece of advice to the carriers and the drivers, you probably want to make sure that you know how to transfer your ELD data at roadside come couple of weeks.
I see a lot of violations on carrier profiles relating to do not have the instructions for the ELD readily available and do not have paper logbooks backup plentiful at the time as well.
And I mean, it tells to look at it from a little bit different perspective. It tells the inspector a lot about how prepared you are and how seriously, you take your job and your professionalism, right? If you know how to use that system when they ask you to transfer and you have all your stuff together, it really kind of tells me a lot about how professional you are, right?
Right.
But if you have no idea where anything is at, like, did you really do your pre-trip inspection today? Did you really do all that stuff? If you don't know where your documents are and where all the different components are, so
yeah. Motor carriers could do a much better job at training their people and preparing their people to have success on the roadway.
Yeah, and if you're 100% right. If you don't stress the importance of safety and you don't have a safety culture within your company, what does that tell your drivers about how seriously you take it? And the other thing I see a lot, and even as an inspector, I used to get drivers asking me to inspect them and asking me to write up violations because they could never get them to fix it themselves.
Sure.
The carrier wouldn't fix it until it was written on an inspection report.
Right.
And that's really, I mean, you do a pre-trip and a post-trip inspection every day. That's really your opportunity to tell the carrier. But if they don't fix it and they don't seem to take it seriously, are you going to continue to write that up every day? No, you're going to give up. And it's sad, but yeah, we definitely need to push that information all the way up to the top because it starts at the top at the carrier.
Well, and I was going to say one of the bonus aspects of your job when you're roadside is you get to decide who you're going to issue that citation to. It doesn't necessarily have to be the driver. It could be, I could have a driver going, I'm really fighting with my motor carrier. I can't do this. I'm trying to do this. I'll show you my documents I'm doing, but they're not fixing it. You could then go, well, I see you're doing a good job. And you're dealing with the motor carrier. I'm going to write this ticket to the motor carrier. So.
Yeah, John, you should have been doing my job because that was exactly the mindset I had. Look, when I look at it, I look at what do I need to do to ensure compliance? If I can do that by talking to a driver, great. If I have to write a ticket, so be it. Whatever it is that's going to change that behavior, right? That's what we're trying to do. If I see that a driver is, writing the same thing up for the last 2 weeks on their pre-trip inspection and the company hasn't fixed it, you bet the driver is probably not the problem. I need to look somewhere else, like the carrier. Yep,
exactly.
So I know that in speaking with the enforcement officers here and attending the inspection stations during the Blitz, that a part of what they do whenever they're looking at the vehicles is they quickly have a look at the safety ratings. So in Ontario, it's the CVOR, the BRSMS scores in the U.S. Is that something that's a consideration for an officer as a vehicle is approaching and being pulled over for a walk around?
Yeah, every officer obviously has different little things that they do probably and different things they look for. But for me, that was huge. I was constantly running, DOT numbers as I was driving down the road or if I was sitting at a stoplight. And if I can see that carrier has a high safety rating and they seem to be having issues, yeah, absolutely. I'm probably going to pay some attention to them rather than a company who's proven through history that they get clean inspections and they have a low safety rating. So obviously there's only so many officers out there and there's a lot more truck drivers out there and motor carriers out there. You target the ones that are probably going to be the most hazardous on the roadway, right? And that's identified through their SMS scores.
So it's kind of like an inspector's cheat sheet.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way to put it. Yep. So I don't know what every different jurisdiction has in Canada, but in the US, we have one database basically for all 50 states. And I can just type in your DOT number. I can see not only what your safety rating is, but I can also see all your past inspections. So if I'm sitting at a long stoplight and I have enough time to do it, I can actually pull up the previous inspection and I see,
wow.
a trailer light was written up 2 weeks ago. That trailer light is still out. We probably need to have a talk, right?
So if you had to give our audience, both the folks in the office and the folks behind the wheel, a couple of takeaways for how to prepare best for this year's annual invitation for a look under the undercarriage, what would it be?
Probably two things. So I always think about driver and vehicle. So let me give you both real quick. So on the driver's side, I can't stress enough how important it is to have your documents together. You said it yourself, Rick. Have the documents together ahead of time. Make sure you know how to transfer your logs, how to where your paperwork is. The one that always gets me is the periodic inspection. A lot of the time that annual inspection or periodic inspection is a sticker somewhere on that vehicle, and the driver has no clue where it's at. And if the inspector can't find it and identify it, then it doesn't exist, right? So know where those kinds of things are. And then on the vehicle side, pre-trips. That's the best thing I can tell you. Probably longer than 30 seconds, which is the average on a normal day, right? If you get out of your truck. But no, if you take your time to do a quality pre-trip, you should be in pretty good position to pass an inspection on the side of the road. Don't stress about road check being some intimidating day that you can't work. And I hear drivers all the time say, I'm going to take 3 days off during that time. You're really just kind of shorting yourself. You're losing money by taking those days off. And if it's no different than any other day. Inspectors are out there doing inspections 362 other days of the year. This is really no different. So,
Hey, you know what? You just touched on one point that I have in all my career standing in front of all the safety meetings I've had with all of my drivers. One key critical component that I'd really love to hear directly from you to our audience, and that is how an inspecting officer looks at the DVIR that has a defect. Because there's a certain contingent of drivers who think, oh no, if I put the defect down there, then I'm going to be in trouble if I get stopped. Whereas my understanding is that might be wrong.
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack in there, but you're spot on. So we already said one part of that is it tells me a lot about that driver and the motor carrier. So if I can see that driver is writing up his defects every day, and even if it still exists, you know what? I was going to find it myself anyway. So you're not diming yourself out, for lack of a better word, by writing it down. I would have probably found it anyway. But what it tells me is you're doing a good pre-trip or a post-trip every day. You're identifying these things, and it tells me that the carrier is aware of it and they're not fixing it. So again, like you said, Rick, it focuses my attention on what I need to do to correct that behavior, which in this case isn't the driver that I need to target. It's really, I need to talk to the motor carrier, right? So that's probably the biggest thing that it tells me when I look at those daily inspections.
So you're going to look favorably on the driver who has the defect as opposed to the driver that doesn't.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
Bingo.
Cool. Yeah. Perfect.
John, the last couple minutes, what do you got?
Well, I was just going to say, one of the focus is tires, and, tires are very expensive when it comes to points on your SMS profile, and they're an immediate out of service. When you've got something that, the tire's leaking, or it's flat, or it's deteriorated, or hey, it's missing, that can be a huge problem. And, I really encourage drivers to do a better job at their vehicle inspection on tires alone, for the simple fact that doesn't always just happen 2 minutes ago. It started before you left the truck stop that morning.
And they're very visible, right? I mean, a lot of drivers we know when they're doing their pre-trip, they're not necessarily crawling underneath every day and checking all those things. But a tire, there's no excuse to not see a tire defect. That's low-hanging fruit, right?
Well,
and a lot rides on it.
Anyway, so awesome. Well, this was great, Jeremy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, of course, anytime.
Are you actually out in the field for road check, or are you?
I'm going to go do some ride-alongs. I don't do inspections anymore. I'm not certified, but I do like to get out there and just kind of see what's going on. So I'll probably harass Virginia a little bit and ride along with them since I'm close to their border. But
awesome.
Sounds
Okay,
like
well,
fun.
good luck out there. Thanks so much for sharing with the community. And who knows? Maybe we'll catch up with you afterwards, see what the results are.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Thanks again.
All right. Take care.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. We hope you found today's materials to be useful and you can put them to work. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. And if you've got questions from today's material, or maybe you're just looking to improve your safety and compliance game, please feel free to reach out to either me or John. And remember, you can't manage what you don't monitor. The key to compliant profitability is just one phone call away. So until next time, put the phone down while you drive and keep your eyes on the prize.